everyone, and welcome to tonight's show. I'm your host, Shakori Jackson.
And my name is Riley Jones.
I was with you guys last week, but just to refresh your memory, I'm from Global Girls, and you are watching a live interactive call-in show. So please call in with your questions and comments. Tonight, we are talking about
education and what it's like to be a black kid growing up on the South Side.
Yeah, so recently we had an event, and we were nominated for first place, Heroes in the Hood, and we won 12 bikes. We were the organization of the year. Woo! I want everyone out there to consider this question. What are you bringing forth? My guest is Riley, and I want you guys to kind of hear his story and where he's coming from and how he got to where he is now.
Okay. My name is Riley Jones. I just graduated from college, went to Columbia University in New York City. I'm from the South Side, born and raised. I grew up in South Shore. Went to public school, kindergarten through 12th grade, graduated from Brooks College Prep in Roseland. And in the fall, I'll be a student at NYU Law School. Definitely here to talk about how all that happened, because it wasn't necessarily something that, I won't say I didn't see for myself, but it wasn't necessarily something that was just kind of laid out for me.
Right. Now, for those of you who don't know us, maybe this is your first time watching us on CAN TV. I'm from Global Girls again. We are a youth performance camp based on the south side of Chicago, located 8151 South Chicago Avenue. Now, we have programs going on all year long. We have an After School Matters program at the studio. We have the youth performance camp. We have One Summer Chicago this summer at the studio. And you guys can feel free to bring anybody you want. Everyone is welcome. Now, I'm going to put our information on the screen, and feel free to contact us at any time. Again, we are located at 8151 South Chicago Avenue. You can visit our website, or you can email us, or feel free to just give us a call. Now, the next thing I am going to tell you guys are about our upcoming events. Now, we recently had a viewing of a show, a movie, a short film called My Neighborhood Pilsen. And the girls I wasn't able to be there, but the girls told me that the show was amazing. And after hearing that, Miss Pam was like, oh, we should come up with a My Neighborhood South Shore. And I'm like, that's a great idea. And on our way here, she was like, well, what do you want to show us? What do you want to show us about your neighborhood South Shore? I'm like, well, I don't really know. And I didn't really know the difference from South Shore and Jeffrey Manor. But yeah, I'm from the Jeffrey Manor. So I think we should do one for all neighborhoods.
I agree. Yeah.
Next, I would like to talk about the performance camp. Now, the performance camp is this summer, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. It's at the Global Studio, 8151 South Chicago Avenue. We will be giving breakfast and lunch, dancing, acting, singing, weekly trips, and performances. Again, you can call for further information. Registration is through the 20th. And yeah, feel free to call 773-902-2359. Now back to my guests. I want you to kind of tell them what motivated you, what kept you going, and was there ever a time where you were influenced to do something that wasn't on your success path?
Good question. So in terms of what kept me motivated, I'll say definitely my family and my I have a twin brother. So we were kind of growing up in the same time. So I guess having that support system going with me throughout high school, elementary school, was super supportive. But I mean, I think I know even when I was in school, it wasn't necessarily something I was super passionate about. I think my grandparents were both teachers, so they always kind of told me, you have to do school, you have to take the lessons and learn and stuff like that.
Right.
But I wouldn't say that early on I had a good sense of like why I was doing that. Actually, my first semester of high school, I did terribly because I didn't really take it that seriously. But I think I was always interested in seeing places other than Chicago. I'd never been anywhere else but Chicago my whole life. And I was always like, well, what do I have to do to go to New York or go to somewhere else, right? And so college for me was really the only way I was ever gonna be able to do that. And so I basically just started looking up schools and was like, what do I have to do to get into this school?
I see that we have a caller. Go ahead, caller.
Hi, I would like to know from Riley, are you associated with Global Girls in any kind of way? How did you get on the air tonight? Did you have any relationship with Global Girls in the past?
Yeah, I actually did. So going into my junior year of high school, I worked with Global Girls in the Beauty in the Community program. So we spent the whole summer cleaning up 79th Street from Cottage Grove all the way out where I live on 79th and Saginaw. And that was super influential on me because personally I'd never been on 79th Street for that long a time. We were there quite literally from June to August. And just seeing my community in a different light and being able to take an active part in making it look physically better, I think just being able to see how people reacted to that and seeing the positive feedback we got was really cool. So I'm a Global Girls alumnus, if you want to say it.
Cool. I heard that area is still clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Global Girls is offering a lot this summer. So, yeah, don't forget, call us, give us some questions, comments. But before the show started, I had an idea, and I wanted to show you guys what it looked like for us to search the south side of Chicago. Now, when newscasters broadcast the south side of Chicago, they usually show the negatives of Chicago. And recently, a news reporter came and they were asking us about some type of, did we know anything about stolen vehicles and stuff. And at Global Girls, we don't really focus on the violence in the community. Well, we do focus on the violence in the community, but our plays aren't crafted around people shooting other people and stuff like that. So we didn't hear anything about vans being stolen. But hey, here's Global Girls. We are doing positive things on the south side, and the newscaster kind of blew us off. They like, no, we good. They walked out, and we just really felt some type of way about that. But as you guys can see, all I typed in on Google was the south side of Chicago, and basically the pictures that they're showing are old rundown buildings, garbage, and this just kind of gives you guys a feel of how people look at us. But really, there is a lot of beauty in the south side. What are some of the things you can think about that stand out to you about the south side?
A special place for me is the South Shore Cultural Center. I grew up singing there, going to see plays and different musicals and stuff like that, and seeing like a lot of people my age that were interested in music, just going to take part in that. That was something really special to me growing up.
Yeah, it's a lot of activities that people don't know about on the south side. Another thing that really got to me was the way these pictures looked, everything was so dirty. And really, when I'm around, I see pretty art on the under the viaducts. I've seen pretty graffiti art, and I see a lot of beautiful things in on the south side of Chicago. Like the trees are even beautiful to me. The birds, the amount of birds you see. Yeah, everything.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. Even when I got to New York, a place that's super far from Chicago, when I first got to New York, I worked for a woman who was running for city council, and I went to a fundraiser, and this guy's like, "Oh, hey, who are you?" or whatever. I'm saying, "Oh, I work for this woman." And he's like, "Oh, okay, are you in school?" I say, "Yeah, I go to Columbia. It's right up the street." He's like, "Oh, okay, very cool, very cool. You know, where are you from?" I say, "Oh, I'm from Chicago." He's like, "Oh, what part of Chicago?" "I'm from the south side." It's like, "And you go to Columbia. Columbia's an Ivy League school." So he's like, "How's that? That doesn't make sense." He's like, "What part, like, did you go to a charter school, a private school?" I said, "No, I went to public school." And he's like, "You must be a genius or something," as if it's, like, doesn't make sense for someone who went to Chicago public schools to end up at a good college. And so, yeah, I totally agree. It's really interesting how that perception of what people think is the south side of Chicago is something that, like, we both know is, like, a place where, you know, you can learn a lot, both from people, from teachers, from your peers and your parents and stuff like that. It's a very dynamic place, even though people want to put it in a box and say it's only one kind of thing.
Right. And recently, one of my friends, oh, we have a caller. Go ahead with your question, caller.
I just wonder if it has anything to do with the expectations that people have of the community, from the teachers to the people who live, some of the people who live in the community, some of the parents. What about the expectations that these people have, and then the expectations that they put on the children to make the children feel that they can't do anything? Did you ever go to school with young people who you thought had a lot of potential, but who didn't even believe in their potential? Could you address that, please?
Yeah, actually, I think, and this is where I talked about, where I say, you know, my parents were super influential with me. My dad didn't go to college. My mom had gone to college. And so my dad always instilled in me, you know, you can learn stuff from people who didn't go to school. And you can learn from people who, you know, even though my grades might be technically better than theirs, they, like, other people still have something to offer you. I remember my freshman year of high school, I was, there's this, it's like the presidential fitness exam, right? And so you have to run around the school and do like 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups, 15, 20 pull-ups, and that kind of stuff. I'm not like that. I'm not that athletic at all. But I remember there was this kid, and he played on the football team, and he had done like 15 pull-ups, then he did 100 sit-ups, he did 100 push-ups, and he's like, I'm out of breath. I'm like, wow, he's still going, right? So then we go outside, and we have to run. My school, my campus is huge. We have to run all the way around the school, and like, I'm expecting him to be like last, because he's worked so hard up to this point. And so he gets to the end, and he finishes first out of all, say, like 100 of us. And I'm like, I go up to him, I'm like, dude, how did you do that? And he said, if you want something, you got to go get it. And I remember that. And that was something that I think if more people took things that they know, right? Like, that's something that he knew. If he took that and applied it to school, or if he took that and applied it to work, or if he took that and applied it to something else, that kind of mentality, I think he can still do amazing things if he just realizes, and within himself, he already knows what he has to do.
Do you think that it has to be like a force behind that, though?
I think sometimes it does. I was always the kind of kid I never really needed to be kind of told what to do. But I think something like my brother is completely opposite. He always kind of needed someone to at least say, like, this is the next step. And I think having those people in your life, whether it's a teacher or whether it's a parent or somebody, or even a friend, I try. That's what I try to do to even my friends who aren't, you know, that didn't go to school. I'm like, yo, like, you have to go to school, right? Like, it's your future. I care about you as your friend. I think even doing that sometimes is really helpful.
Yeah. Even I need that extra push sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Next, I want to talk to you guys about getting control over your emotions. Sometimes people can kind of try to bring you down and knock you off your square. How did like you already kind of told us how you kept going, but was there ever someone who tried to knock you off your square and you almost got knocked off the square?
I remember in 8th grade, I had a friend, right, who told me, I think it was something like, I told him, I was like, I'm going to go to Harvard. Just because I was like, that's what I want to do. And he was like, dude, there's no way you're going to Harvard. That's not something that people just say, right? And I'm like, why not? He's like, yeah, you're not going to Harvard. And I remember I was like, you know what? Just to prove you, if only to prove you wrong, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna apply. At least apply to go to Harvard, right? And I didn't get in, but I got other places because I had that person who was like, look, you're not gonna be able to do what you say you want to do.
Right.
And so and then what the funny part is, I told him that years later. I was like, look, you told me 4 years ago that I wouldn't get to Harvard. I didn't get to Harvard. I got into Columbia. He's like, I don't remember even saying that to you. So that's something you can also remember is that people say things a lot of times because they want to learn from you. They want to learn how to do what you want to do, and they don't necessarily know how to express that. So yeah, I remember that very clearly.
Okay, guys. You see, this guy wanted to go to Harvard. Some people don't even know what Harvard is. Like, some of my friends don't even know where Harvard is located. Like, that is so amazing. We have a caller. Go ahead, caller.
Hi, I think I heard something about Riley having a business or something when he started a business. Can you tell me about that?
Okay, yeah, Riley, go ahead. Tell us where you, what are you doing right now?
Yeah. So yeah, I started a business about a year and a half ago. So what happened was my sophomore year of college, I went to, so New York is like super, that's the one thing I like about the East Coast. It's super close to a lot of other cities, Philadelphia, Boston, and stuff like that. You can just hop on a bus and go. So I went and visited, went to a conference for black college students out in New Jersey at Princeton. And I just heard about it randomly. I was like, oh, well, I don't have anything to do this weekend. Let me just go out here. And it was so amazing. You had people like, all black people who were lawyers and aspiring doctors or professors or engineers and all kinds of stuff. And that was just something growing here I had never really seen or as often. And so I went to this conference and I talked to the woman who organized it and I said, look, this was amazing. I said, if you ever need anything, just let me know. And so 2 or 3 months later, she texted me or called me or something and says, well, we're planning next year's conference. Do you mind helping us out? And so I was like, yeah, of course. So we're planning this conference for about 2 months. And then we're starting to think more about it. And we say, well, look, maybe this can be a business. Like maybe we can make helping black college students get jobs a business. And so that summer, we applied to a grant at Princeton University. And they gave us $20,000. And they were like, look, we believe in your idea. We think this is cool. We're going to give you $20,000 to see if you can get it off the ground. So we did that this is the summer of 2015. We did that for 3 months. And then in the fall, we threw a conference at NYU Law School, which is funny because that's where I'm going to school. I had no idea that would happen a few years later. Threw a conference with 400 students from all across the United States, as far as California, Texas, Louisiana. And we just had black kids who grew up in neighborhoods like this come and talk about their dreams, talk about what they want to do professionally, what they wanted to do personally, how they wanted to take those things and give back to their community, and it was amazing. And so then we went on. We got funding from other places, and we went to the White House, and it was just really amazing. And I think what I learned from that is you really never know how stuff is going to work out, because that wasn't something that I went in like, I'm going to go in here, then I'm going to start this business, and I'm going to do this stuff. But you realize like a lot of this stuff, it's about being prepared for when that I think for me, when people say, people get lucky and stuff like that, I think luck is where chance, like stuff you never know is going to happen, meets preparation, right? If I wasn't prepared to do any of that stuff, then it wouldn't have happened. Right. But because I had already taken the time to say, like, do well in school, I was prepared to do a lot of those things that I ended up doing.
Thank you for sharing that. That is an amazing story. You really came far. Now you're almost done. Well, are you done? Did you graduate college?
I graduated like 3 weeks ago.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool. That is so cool. So is there anything else you wanted to tell us about you?
I just wanted to share one last thing, which is that it's really not about where you start. It's about where you finish. And my dad used to talk about something, when people pass away, and they have the obituaries and stuff like that, and they'll say they live from this time to this time, and they have the hyphen in the middle or the dash in the middle. So my dad used to always ask me and my brother, what are you going to do with your dash, right? So I think what I want to talk to the viewers about is just, what are you going to do with your dash? What is the kind of thing you're going to leave behind? What does that dash mean for you? All the stuff in between, from the time you were born to the time you leave Earth.
I like that.
What are you going to do with your dash? Yeah.
Cool, cool. Don't forget to call in, you guys. Call in. What are you going to do with your dash? 312-738-1060. The number is on the screen. Call, guys. So we already know what you did with your dash. Do you have any further plans?
So I'll start law school in the fall, so that's 3 years. And then after that, I don't really know. I'm interested in a lot of different things in the legal field, but I got a little time to figure it out.
What are you going to study in law school?
So the way it works is you'll start the first year, you take like all the basics of law, because it's like really intense. They'll start asking you all these different questions. You have to read all the cases and stuff like that. I don't really know much until I won't know much until I get there. But I don't have a defined path right now. What are you trying to study when you go to school?
Actually, I was thinking, because community college is a lot more cheaper, I would do like my first 2 years in community college to kind of get like the general ed out the way. And then if it doesn't take the 2 years, I'll maybe do the one or whatever. But eventually, I want to transfer to a university, preferably Kansas State, and go to study agricultural science.
Very cool. There's scholarships out there. I know. That was the other thing. I mean, my school costs a lot of money, but my school has a program where they for people whose parents don't make a lot of money, they cover basically all of your tuition. And there's programs even for people who do 2 years at a community college and then decide to transfer, where they'll cover basically your entire tuition. So you should definitely look into that. We can talk more about it.
Cool. I see we have a caller. Go ahead, caller.
I'd just like to know what advice each of you would give to some young people who might be listening in the audience tonight.
Okay. I have a piece of advice. I want you guys to know that there's never a limit. You see, he graduated, but he kept going. There's never a limit. Keep going, keep going. Like, just keep going.
My advice would be look in yourself and the skills that you have and the drive that you have, and apply it to something that you care about. Something that's going to make your community better, something that'll make your life better. Because in the long run, that's what we're here for, right? We're here to make our communities better and our friends and our loved ones' lives better. So I'd say take that drive and apply it to something you really care about.
And most of all, I want you guys to leave with this. Follow your heart. Live a more satisfying life by letting your heart calling guide you. is much more likely to do the right thing and doesn't serve the ego. Thank you guys. Tune in next week. Monday, I'll be here.
All right.